If you hood educated, I'm glad you made it. Allow me to unfold my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from a hood brother's point of view to all of you, here, there, and everywhere. Now check me out.
Prosecutors detailing a ruthless years-long effort to silence witnesses and rival gang members that allegedly included more than a dozen murders and other crimes, many of which have gone unsolved. It was a stunning moment of violence that sent scores of people running. The July 2020 drive-by shooting near 79th and Carpenter, as a crowd gathered for a funeral, wounded 15 people, most of them women.
I remember being out there after it happened and seeing casings all over the street and the sidewalk. He said, this is like a war zone.
Father Michael Flager offered a $15,000 reward after the shooting, which prosecutors now say was gang retaliation. It's one of a string of shootings detailed in a federal indictment charging 6 alleged members of the Faceworld street gang with racketeering, conspiracy, and other charges.
Cowards are the ones that spray crowds and shoot at crowds. If I remember right, there were children out there at the time with the adults.
Prosecutors say for years the defendants committed murder, attempted murder, assault, and other acts of violence, keeping victims' rival gang members and witnesses in fear, allowing the gang to engage in drug trafficking, theft, including carjackings, and other crimes.
It's right in the sweet spot of what the U.S. Attorney's Office does. It's a classic RICO gang conspiracy. They've done them for years, and this fits right in the mold.
The indictment also charges one of the defendants with the 2019 murders of 18-year-old Brittany Rice and 19-year-old Zenobia Brantley, who both worked at Walmart and were sitting in a vehicle after work near 77th and Eggleston. Another co-worker in the car was wounded.
It's a long-running criminal gang with a lot of murders to their name, and you can tell that by the charges.
All 6 defendants are in custody. If convicted, they could receive life sentences. And because these are federal charges, 3 of those defendants could face the death penalty.
6 alleged members and associates of a Chicago street gang were indicted by a federal grand jury in Chicago. The indictment was unsealed on December 15, 2025, and publicly announced by the U.S. Attorney's Office, Northern District of Illinois. These 6 brothers are accused of participating in a criminal organization that engaged in violent acts, including 13 murders. Did y'all hear what I just said? 13 murders, attempted murders, assaults, armed robberies, and carjackings, a shooting at a CTA bus, cold-blooded demonstration. Authorities describe this as a RICO, racketeering conspiracy, meaning prosecutors allege the group functioned as an organized violent enterprise rather than isolated crimes. And what this means is this right here, y'all. For all you brothers out there that's in these gangs and doing all this criminal activity, as long as you are in a gang and you are doing criminal activity, the federal government and the state government will look at you as a criminal enterprise. Okay? So you gotta understand that. If you're doing crime and you in a gang, at some point the government can say you are a criminal enterprise, and that RICO charge alone can get you 20 years on top of all the other charges. So let's get an understanding as to who is being charged. First, we have Deontay Harper, 28 years old. Tyrone Foy, 31 years old. Taiwan Tapler, 25 years old. Robert Lee Thomas, 22 years old. Davion Harris, 28 years old. And Davine McClure, 26 years old. All of these guys are alleged members of an associated gang called Faceworld. Faceworld is a fraction of the Gangster Disciples on the south side of Chicago. Federal prosecutors allege that Faceworld was involved in a series of violent incidents spanning several years, roughly from 2019 to 2025. Come on now. That just tells me one thing, right? And I'm all about my law enforcement and stuff like that. But if you got a group of guys running around causing this much chaos, pain, murder, and misery in the community in a small section of south side of Chicago, and y'all ain't got these guys off the streets, look, y'all being incompetent. Y'all ain't really standing on business. And that's why the feds had to come in and get these guys up off the streets. Now, with these 13 homicides, in the indictment, it lists multiple fatal shootings, including young victims and people targeted during gang conflicts. The prosecutors say the members were engaged in a long-standing and violent feud with rival groups such as Wooga World and 900. These guys right here didn't just stop at, shooting people on the streets. They would shoot people on buses. They would shoot at funerals. Do you hear what I'm saying? It's one thing to be at a funeral mourning over your lost loved one, but now here it is, these guys are not satisfied with just killing your loved one. They want to kill more of you. And the cold-blooded part about that is this right here. See, when you guys join these gangs and then you get killed, the gang that killed you understand that your gang banging friends are going to be at the funeral. And so they look at that as an opportunity to kill more of you, because now they know exactly where these gang members that they want to kill are going to be. So listen, parents, look, your son friends that are part of gangs and you want to have a decent funeral, keep them away from the funeral. Don't allow them to come to the funeral. They can go to when it's time for you to bury, your loved one or whatever, but as the funeral where all your family members is going to be, don't let them come, because the gang bangers are going to come to the funeral searching and looking. And as soon as they see some people that they want to kill, they're going to shoot the funeral up, and then they're going to possibly shoot some innocent people as well. In addition to the murder and all the other bad stuff that these boys was accused of, the attempted murders and all that, they are also being charged with armed robbery, carjacking, witness intimidation, and drug distribution. Now, I need the hood-educated residents and guests to understand something. Just because these brothers has been indicted, just because they are under an indictment right now and they have been charged with all this stuff, it doesn't mean that they are guilty. What that means is that the government, the federal government, the United States government believe that they are guilty of the crimes that they are being charged with. But they still got to have their trial. They still got to go in front of a jury. They still got to go in front of a judge. And the prosecution has to prove all the elements of every crime that they have been charged with. So as of right now, these 6 boys are innocent until proven guilty. Cold-blooded demonstration. The worst thing that a gangbanger could do is go shoot up a funeral, right? And the reason why I say that is because here it is, you have people are crying and mourning. The kids are there. The grandparents are there. The parents are there. The cousins, the friends are at the funeral, mourning the death of one of their loved ones. And here come you gangbangers. Y'all ain't got no respect for nothing. And y'all shoot up the funeral. Shoot 15 people, innocent people. Not one gangbanger did they shot, all innocent peoples. And the cold-blooded part about the whole thing is this right here. They even bragged about it on Instagram. Check it out. This is what Tay Saab said on his Instagram account when he was, going back and forth with one of his opposition. Boss Reese 075 said, I think that was just him in this wood hitting hard as fuck. Tay Sav 80th said, gang, then we had your ass running at the funeral. You fell on your face on my son. Stop tweaking, for real. You see what I'm saying? These boys just be talking and talking about actual crimes that they committed. So now in this indictment, this is what the Fed said. On or about July 21st, 2020, co-conspirator 9 drove defendant Dante Harper, Keyshawn Wardlow, and co-conspirator 3 when Dante Harper and co-conspirator 3 shot at multiple funeral goers at Donald Weatherby's funeral, many of whom were wounded. Co-conspirator 3 planned this shooting as a retaliation for the death of a Faceworld Enterprise member, and all of the men in the car together planned to shoot up the funeral. This is what you call cooperation. Everything that he said in that Instagram post corroborating everything that the feds are saying right now when it comes to the shooting at the funeral. You see what I'm saying? But like I said in my last video, continue. Just continue, bragging on Instagram and all the social medias and things like that, because the police gonna put it together. Yeah, the feds gonna connect the dots on y'all ass, and before you know it, you're gonna be facing an indictment just like these boys here. Now, listen, I could never agree with none of this type of behavior, especially shooting up the funeral home. I just can't, come on. And the cold-blooded part about that is this right here. The man who died, whose funeral it was shot and killed by the same people that shot up the funeral. So just killing him wasn't enough. Nah. We killed him already. No, we got to go shoot up the funeral too. You see what I'm saying? That wasn't enough. I'm talking about had people running, and when you hit the little part that you seen about the funeral shooting, that little small portion on the news, that ain't it, y'all. I'm talking about them boys was shooting so long. You gonna be like, hey man, wait a minute. And then after the boys get done shooting, the boys from Faceworld, you can hear the guys from Woogle World shooting back. Now, I can't show that video on here, but if y'all want to check out that video in its entirety, click the link that's pinned at the top of this comment section. Go over there, get your membership, check out that video, and then check out the other content that I got over there. That's if you are into that type of stuff. If you're not into that type of stuff, I wouldn't advise you to go over there and peep that. Leave that alone, right? But now, this boy who called himself Dewey Foe, he has been associated with all type of murders. I'm talking about he driving them on the murder, he participating in the murder, and then he get killed himself. And I know a lot of people are saying, well, how did he get killed? Possibly, gang rivalry and stuff like that. No, he got killed in a backdoor demonstration. Here it is, Dewey Foe and one of his other members, or his best friend, according to reports from Faceworld, they clicked up with another gang called 800. And these four brothers planned to go hit an armored truck. And in the process of trying to rob the armored truck, they killed the sister for nothing. Shot her down dead. And after shooting the sister, rest in peace to her and her family, condolences to her family, rest in peace to her and condolences to her family. After shooting this sister and killing her, the lick was blown up. So they had to get in their cars and get up out of there. But while in the car, one of the guys had a smart idea to go rob a T-Mobile store. A T-Mobile store. So now after robbing the T-Mobile store, according to reports, they are saying that they started to argue. The four guys that's in the car. But the brother from 800, they get to arguing. The two gangs that plan to do this armored truck, they get to arguing all of a sudden. And I'm talking about the cold-blooded part about that is the back door was just ruthless, because while Dewey, I think he was in the passenger, or I think he was driving. Well, he was in the front seat, let's say that. The Faceworld members were in the front seat of the getaway vehicle. The 800 members are in the back seat. While they get into this confrontation or this argument or whatever, the 800 members said, okay, after they got done arguing, the 800 members said, look, we finna kill these fools. And that's exactly what they did. While they driving in the getaway car, the guys in the back from the other gang start shooting the guys in the front, killing Dewey and his homeboy. Check it out.
And police here saying today, Cheryl, that the community of this Chicago neighborhood needs to be commended for calling 911 and helping lead these two men in this really bizarre murder case. Here they are, 19-year-old Antoine Montgomery and 21-year-old DeAndre Jennings in jail facing a slew of charges, including murder. They were part of that Monday morning attempted armored car heist, according to police, at the Bank of America at 83rd and Princeton. Detectives say the men, joined by two others, ambushed three armed security guards, shooting two of them and killing 47-year-old LaShonda Hartz. Police say the men robbed a cell phone store after that, then crashed an SUV into the 8700 block of South Saginaw. There's the SUV right there. It was here, police say, the men turned on each other. The superintendent saying there's no honor among thieves, and after the robberies and murder, the four men got into an altercation. Two men deceased, two others charged, those two being Montgomery and Jennings. Superintendent also sending this message to criminals tonight.
We at the Chicago Police Department have a clear message to these individuals. Commit these crimes and you will be held responsible.
19-year-old Antoine Montgomery and 21-year-old DeAndre Jennings, both charged with murder, among other charges. And as I mentioned, the police talking about the community that called 911 after that crash in that SUV. Someone called 911 and said they saw the two suspects running into a home. That led to a SWAT standoff, and then these two men were arrested.
Ain't no honor amongst thieves. None whatsoever. Now, the boys that did that killing, they done got caught up and got arrested and stuff like that. They down there for 3 murders, federally, looking at the death penalty. This is gang life for you. This is the stupidity of gang life. This is what's going on. And so here it is. Now, these boys done got caught up in this RICO, and it's over with for them. They looking at the death penalty. You see, it's over with for them. But the cold-blooded part about this whole demonstration is this right here. Where is the parents in this whole demonstration? And sometimes when I ask these type of questions, I gotta look at myself. I gotta reflect back on my life, because I was running around the streets doing all that madness too. And a lot of the times when kids are running wild like this, they have dysfunctional parents. They grew up in a dysfunctional environment. You got to understand that. They grow up in those type of environments where everything is just complete chaos. Drugs, gangs, murders, killing, fighting, civil rivalry, all type of stuff going on. And there are no parents, even though there are parents, adults, but they are not parenting. They are just letting kids do what the hell they want to do. And when you let a child do what the hell they want to do, these are the results that you're going to get. That's why I'm a firm believer now of whooping ass, putting kids in their place, and, directing the future of your children. And what I mean by that is this right here. We got to stop asking our kids what they want to do. We got to start telling our kids what they're going to do. You see? You watch your kids and you say, okay, you good at playing basketball. You finna go play basketball. Now, I don't really want to go play that. Look, this is not nothing to be discussed. You finna go play basketball. I don't care what you talking about. Oh, man, you hit that boy hard. He know how to throw a ball. Hey, you finna go play baseball or football. You know you got a good arm on you. You see? No, you finna be a doctor. You finna be a veterinarian. We got to start making decisions for our kids while they small. Because about time they get 18, 16, 17 and all that, they start thinking they want to be a gangster. I want to be a rapper. I want to talk about killing people. I want to be a prostitute. I want to be a stripper. You see? So we need to start making decisions for these kids now. Because look, a lot of kids are growing up in these dysfunctional families. These drug addict families. These alcoholic families. And these kids that's out here doing all this killing, robbing, and stealing and all this madness, that's their parents. Their parents is dysfunctional. That's why the kids are dysfunctional. I'm telling you, you gonna have some kids, right, that can maneuver up out of that type of dysfunctionality, but for the most part, 99.9%, they ain't gonna make it. No, they ain't gonna make it. Because they wasn't even established to make it from the beginning. Everything starts at the house. And parents, man, quit acting like your kids is your friends. And they are not your friends. This is a young life that you got in control of, that you got to control it. You can't let your kids make decisions. Shit, let's be 100. We don't even know what the hell we gonna do with our lives sometimes, and we full-fledged adults. We be like, damn, man, what I'm gonna do? What's going on? Yeah, I think I can do this. I think I can do that. But just imagine if you was prepared. You see what I'm saying? If your life as a young child was prepared for you, then you will already know what time it is. Ain't no time to be making no decisions. I already know what I want to do. I already know what I'm going to do. You see? I believe that's what we got to start doing with our young kids, because when we just let them go wild, these are the results of kids going wild. These kids was committing all this murder when they was teenagers, young adults, and they creating all this chaos, multiple murders. You see? And so we can only imagine, what about the ones that ain't got caught yet? They're still out there murdering, still out there shooting and stuff like that. No. We got to change it. We got to start making these decisions for these kids. And to you fathers out there, man, go get your boys, man. Now look, I understand, a woman can raise a son, but at the same time, a son do need some type of male mentorship. He needs some type of, he need a male around him to put his ass in line. Because if you don't, he gonna go wild. That's the reason why you have a mother and a father. That's why the universal creator made man and woman. When we have kids, we gotta govern them. We gotta stand on them. Because if you don't, they gonna get lost. And these are the results of lost kids. Kids running around killing up shit. Excuse my language, but I gotta be 100. Fathers, go get your sons. Women, if the father is nowhere around, if the father is a deadbeat, or the father was unfortunately killed or something like that, put your son around some good men. Some mentorship. Put him around, hey look, he know how to fight, he like to fight, hey, go box. You see what I'm saying? Put him around some men. He can, football, basketball, put him around some men where they can put him in check when he get out of line. Young boys need that. I never had my father. I needed that. I know I needed that. Man, I wanted my father so bad, man. I didn't want my stepfathers and all them. No, I wanted my father. Not no stepdad and all that. That's not my father. As much as my mother, this is my boyfriend and this is my husband, whatever. I never looked at them like my father. I wanted my father. You see what I'm saying? So if the father ain't around, then you got to put him around some positive male role models. And I got to be 100. I never been around no positive male role models, ever. Never. When I was a little kid, I'm in that dysfunctional environment. Everybody either selling drugs or doing drugs. Everybody either fighting, killing, robbing, and stealing. That was the norm for me in my young life coming up. It shouldn't have been like that. So then I gotta ask myself, how did I end up gang banging? How did I end up robbing and, doing all the stuff that I was doing? My environment. I seen my male role models was gangsters. You see what I'm saying? Robbers, stealers, killers, them was my male role models. So you can't look at me and say, well, damn, why you end up like that? Look at my environment. Change the environment, especially if you got young boys and little girls that you raising. Change the environment. Don't let them gangsters come in your house showing guns and showing drugs, selling drugs, doing drugs and all that old type of stuff, because your kids are watching. And they looking at you like, okay, mama must think this is okay. She must think this is cool. So if I did it, when I get older, she ain't gonna mind it. All that sending your kids to the room, I don't let them see what's going on. I send them to the room. That don't mean nothing. I've been sent to the room numerous times. And I knew what time it was. I knew what was going on. You see what I'm saying? Y'all gotta go in the room. Go in the room. Okay, I know what's happening. You see, so that don't work. Just keep them away from that. Don't socialize with them type of people. Shame them type of people in front of your children. Look, don't be like that. You see that boy right there? You see that girl right there? I don't allow that. Shame them so that your kids can understand, wow, that's wrong. My mama and my daddy don't like that. That's wrong. You see? And then show them what you want them to be like. That little boy right there, that little girl right there, that's what I'm talking about. So they can see, they can imagine, they can understand, oh, this is good over here. This is bad over there. I want to go where my parents see that things are good, because I want to impress my parents. That's how kids think. Why y'all think our children, all they do is copy us all the time when they little? You get to saying things, they getting repeating everything you saying, even the cuss words. I'm telling you, my daughter be tripping me out. Like when I watch football, I be cussing because I don't like what the Vikings is doing this year. So I'm cussing up a storm. And I remember one time I was watching the game and they threw a touchdown. I was like, good shit, hell yeah. My 3-year-old daughter said, good shit, hell yeah, and looked at me and smiled. Because in her mind, she like, this is my dad, he's happy. So I'm gonna say the same thing. And I couldn't do nothing. I couldn't do nothing but laugh at her, because she thinks she doing right. Because she's following me. And so I had to sit her down and say, hey, look, you know what, dad said a bad word. I got excited, woo, and I talked to her about it and things like that. But still, that doesn't take away from what she done seen and what she done heard. You see? So we got to put positive examples in front of these kids. And we can't, I'm talking about, listen, as much as you can, don't let those negative influence grow with your child. Whenever a negative influence start to get into your child's mental, you got to cut it. And you got to explain it. Look, this is why I don't like this. This is why this don't, nope, don't do that. Don't do this. Let me show you the examples why you don't do that. Why you don't act like that. Why you don't say that. Why you don't do that. Because this is the result of that. You see, let me show you the alternative though. But if you do this, you act like this, you say this and you do this, here's the result of that. You see, we want to teach and we want to show so that our kids won't end up in a goddamn RICO. This is hood educated, not lame related. Peace and love, and y'all take care of yourself out there. If I said anything that caused you to think, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And if you're feeling generous, please make a small donation to the channel. Peace and love.